6 p.m. Pakistan Standard Time. Assalamu alaikum. This is Radio Pakistan. The news read by Hassan Gilani. First, the headlines. Prime Minister has called for an immediate cessation of hostilities in Gaza. Anwarul Haqqaqar has arrived in Riyadh on a 3-day official visit to Saudi Arabia. Pakistan has welcomed forthcoming extraordinary summit of Organization of Islamic Cooperation to be held in Saudi Arabia tomorrow. Repatriation of illegal foreign nationals to their home countries continues. The United Nations has warned that ongoing war in Gaza may push hundreds of thousands of Palestinians into poverty. South Africa are chasing a victory target of 245 runs against Afghanistan in ICC Cricket World Cup at Ahmedabad. And now the news in detail. Caretaker Prime Minister Anwarul Haqqaqar has called for an immediate cessation of hostilities in Gaza and establishment of a human corridor for uninterrupted supply of food, medicines and other essential items to the Palestinians. In an interview with Anadolu news agency, he warned of a spillover effect of the catastrophic situation in Gaza, which can go beyond the region. The Prime Minister said Pakistan is following and looking forward to attending a forthcoming special session of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation. He said the body should deliberate upon the situation and come up with a collective response. Responding to a question, the Prime Minister called for enhanced coordination and cooperation between Turkey and Pakistan, dubbing the bilateral relations as fabulous. He said there are many areas such as trade, agriculture and defense in which relations can be improved. The Prime Minister reiterated that the simmering Kashmir dispute has to be addressed and resolved for normalization of ties between Pakistan and India. He said Kashmiris have got every right to determine their future and their destiny, and Pakistan would always stand diplomatically, politically to support that stance. Caretaker Prime Minister Anwarul Haqqaqar has arrived in Riyadh on his 3-day official visit to Saudi Arabia. Deputy Governor Riyadh, Prince Mohammed bin Abdul Rahman bin Abdul Aziz, Pakistan Ambassador to Saudi Arabia Ahmad Farooq, senior Saudi officials and Pakistani diplomatic staff welcomed him at the King Khalid Airport. The Prime Minister will participate in the extraordinary summit of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation on the current situation in Palestine. Pakistan welcomes the forthcoming extraordinary Islamic summit to be held in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia tomorrow. At her weekly media briefing in Islamabad today, Foreign Office spokesperson Mumtaz Zahra Baloch said the summit of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation has been convened in response to the unprecedented Israeli attacks on Gaza and its environs, which have posed a grave threat to civilian population and precipitated a humanitarian crisis. She said Prime Minister Anwarul Haqqaqar will represent Pakistan in the extraordinary OIC summit. The spokesperson said Pakistan will continue to play its role to advance international consensus and galvanize efforts for an urgent end to Israeli aggression against the Palestinian people and urgent provision of relief assistance to the people of Gaza. She said as a tragedy of epic proportions unfolds in Gaza, the UN Security Council must act to fulfill its responsibility to uphold peace and call for an urgent and unconditional ceasefire, lifting of the siege, and commencement of rapid, unhindered humanitarian assistance. Caretaker Minister for Information and Broadcasting Murtaza Solangi has urged upon media workers to act responsibly during election reporting. Addressing an event organized by journalist community in Islamabad today, he said it is prime responsibility of the caretaker government to conduct elections in free, fair and transparent manner. He categorically said that we have no favorite in the race of political parties. Federal Minister for Culture and National Heritage Jamal Shah has called for exploring the potential of tourism and national heritage to give a boost to tourism sector. He was talking to media after he laid floral wreath at the Mazar of Quaid-e-Azam in Karachi today and offered Fatiha. Jamal Shah said the National Heritage Ministry will soon start the process of preservation of historical buildings, especially those around the Mazar of Quaid-e-Azam. This is Radio Pakistan. Minister for Parliamentary Affairs Murtaza Solangi has said that PIA is present on the privatization list. Responding to a calling attention notice in the Senate today, he said the previous government had devised a privatization plan and the caretaker government is implementing it. He mentioned that the halted flight operation of PIA has been revived after arranging the funds. Taking the floor, Leader of the House in the Senate, Ishaq Dar, expressed concern over rise in terror incidents in the country, suggesting that caretaker government should give an in-camera briefing to the House on the situation. Later, House was adjourned to meet again on Monday at 3 p.m. The repatriation of illegal foreign nationals, including Afghans, to their home countries is continuing. Thousands of unregistered Afghan citizens are returning to their country through Torkham and Chaman border daily. According to details, 3,035 illegal Afghans returned to Afghanistan yesterday. The United Nations has warned that the ongoing war in Gaza may push hundreds of thousands of Palestinians into poverty. A report by the World Body on long-term effects of the war reveals that about 11,000 Palestinians have already been martyred, while millions of those who fled the war will face poverty if the conflict stretches further to third month. New Delhi-controlled State Investigation Agency and Indian paramilitary personnel continued house raids and searches in different areas of Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir on third consecutive day today, subjecting people to severe harassment. According to Kashmir Media Service, the Indian paramilitary and police personnel took away mobile phones, laptops, and house and bank documents during the raids and terrorized the inmates, particularly women and children. Meanwhile, fearing that the Jummah gathering at historic Jamia Masjid Srinagar could turn into an anti-India and anti-Israel demonstration, the occupation authorities locked the Grand Mosque on fifth consecutive Friday today, and this allowed people to offer Jummah prayers. World Science Day for Peace and Development is being observed today to highlight the significant role of science in society. It also underlines the need to engage public in emerging scientific issues. This year, the day is being observed under the theme Building Trust in Science. In the ICC Cricket World Cup, chasing a victory target of 245 runs against Afghanistan at Ahmedabad, South Africa were 5 for no loss in 1 over a short while ago. Earlier, Afghanistan were all out at 244 in stipulated 50 overs. And finally, the weather. Dry weather is expected in most parts of the country, while cold and partly cloudy in upper parts during the next 12 hours. However, more rain, thunderstorm with snow over mountains is likely in northeast Punjab, Gilgit-Baltistan, Kashmir and adjoining areas. Fog is likely to prevail in plain areas of Punjab during the morning and night hours. And now the headlines once again. Prime Minister has called for an immediate cessation of hostilities in Gaza. Anwarul Haqqaqar has arrived in Riyadh on a 3-day official visit to Saudi Arabia. Pakistan has welcomed forthcoming extraordinary summit of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation to be held in Saudi Arabia tomorrow. The United Nations has warned that the ongoing war in Gaza may push hundreds of thousands of Palestinians into poverty. And that is the end of the news. For more news and analysis, log on to our website radio.gov.pk and also watch live video streaming of our bulletins on the link facebook.com/Radio Pakistan News Official.